It's live. We are present live. Hello, everyone. We're super excited. We're actually a minute early for our broadcast, so we're going to wait and just let a few people sign on. But we're super excited to be here. My name is Elaine Townsend-Utin. This is the legend, Alice Stalbo. No big deal. She's a big deal. But we're tuning in here from Durham, North Carolina. We're super excited to talk to you about college visits, specifically for our SLY scholars, but if you take something away from it, that's awesome. But we're super excited to be able to host a bunch of college visits this summer, and tips and tricks on how to prep, and also how to figure out which college is a good fit for you. We have a really fun video planned for you today. So, stay tuned, call your friends, drop your questions, whatever's necessary. We're gonna have a great time. All right.
Cool. Thanks. Hey, everyone. We want to start with just talking about why we're doing this video at all. One of the reasons familiarize these college visits so that you feel like you understand what the people are talking about when you're there. And another main component of our presentation today is going to be better questions. Elaine and I are going to do some acting. We're going to do some scenes for you. And so you'll should go about get better answers and make better decisions about where to apply. And the third and final main point of doing this video today, how you can make the most of actually going on the college visit, and really stressing why it's so important to sign up for the SLY college visits. So get a lot more information about the college than you could just from going on their website.
Absolutely. Okay, so first, why is that an important experience to have? Why go on a tour? What's the point of this stuff, And we have 4 reasons for you, so I'm going to break them down. 4 opinions from your own experiences, and a lot of times you'll hear things from maybe your peers, other students or teachers or your parents, and that could be something like, oh, that school is such a great school, it's so prestigious, to the point of like, oh, that school's awful, it's an ugly campus, like you're gonna hate it, and sometimes these ideas just based on what someone else is saying. So sometimes it's so important to just get that own experience for you and to just see the campus and hear people speak about it from their own perspective, just to continue to add, like, what do I actually think about this campus before I, apply or as I'm applying. The second one is to explore all your options. And a lot of times, there's out there that we don't know about. A lot of times, a lot of schools get extra attention, and that will sometimes overshadow some other schools that could be a really great fit for you. So by going to a college visit and college tour and just checking out a college that you're like, I've never heard anything about this, or heard a little bit, I don't know much, it can actually add to your is so you can help imagine, try to imagine yourself there. Is this something that I could see myself there? This is a tricky question sometimes. People have this like magic moment where they like step on a college campus and like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is everything. There's just something that kind of clicks, and it can often help people feel like they can flourish and really, maybe that's just because they feel comfortable, because they feel a little extra confident being there. So we're actually visits during the summer. So full disclaimer, these campuses might be a little extra empty or a little bit more emptier than usual. Still a great way to, see kind of like a feel of a campus, depending on where it is. And last but not least, we're trying to get information that you can't get on a website. There's a lot of things you can look up online, and that, doesn't require you to go to this college tour. So we're trying to go and get a deeper understanding of these campuses. And sometimes you can only do that by talking to people who are, their job is to represent the university and this information. So, yeah.
So I think Elaine's going to tell you a little bit about which college visits. Hopefully you've been on there to open your email to find out where we're going, when we're going, and how to sign up. But Elaine will do a little bit of public as well.
We universities, and this is our first time doing this, so this is really awesome. So
all for you.
We're blessed. So first is UNC Chapel Hill. Keep in to our roots here. Next is UNC Wilmington. Transportation is actually provided for that one. It's going to be really cool. Sign up for that. Meredith College as well. We'll be meeting out there. Davidson College and Queen's University are actually located, and we'll be traveling out there together. The next trip that we're going to take together is to the Greensboro area. So we're going to visit Elon University and also UNC Greensboro. So get a sense of something that's a little bit farther out, but still a little close to home. And then we're going to, of course, check out Duke University. Some people went there. I don't know, you know, some people go there, whatever. Also NC State University as well. We have a lot of people interested in the sciences. So
a lot of engineering.
Calendar, you have it in your inboxes and your Snapchat, so you know you got the info. So definitely sign up. The deadline's Friday. So
some of you might have Elaine's list and saying, well, the colleges that I picked when I was filling out the survey aren't on Elaine's list, and we still want you to come on the college visits, and let me tell you why. First of all, even though you might not be, like you had really wanted to visit Guilford College. Well, Guilford College is a small liberal arts college, and we're going to a couple of small colleges. College and Queen's University are small schools, under 2,000 undergraduates, similar to Guilford. So maybe you don't end up wanting to far interested in those schools, but you can still get a sense of the vibe of what it would be like to be at a small school. Or maybe you have your heart set on being part of the Georgia Tech, and you really want to go to Georgia Tech for engineering. Well, you should probably visit NC State. Even if you've been there before, it'll be a different experience this time. You might learn something new. Or maybe you want to go to a place like Emory. You really want to go out of state. Well, we can't take you to Atlanta, but we can take you to Durham and to Duke University, which has a lot of similar characteristics. So if you think about it as different types of schools, like I want to see a small school, I want to see a large public school, I want to see a private research university, then you can just go on the visits for the different kinds of schools and just get a sense of which kinds of places you might like to go. And the real bonus with a visit that you didn't think that you were going to be interested in, you're like, no, there is no way that I'm going to go to an all-women's college in Raleigh. Forget it. I'm not going to Meredith. And then you go there and hear about really cool leadership development programs, and you think, oh, I'm going to add it to my list. So you never know what you might find if you join us. Plus, you get to hang out with.
It's so fun. And really, like, who gets to go to college visits with like a crew? Like, that's awesome. It's gonna be fun.
It is. So, a little sense of what these colleges entail, because in my former life, I was an admissions officer at Duke, so I would help coordinate these college visits. So I was on the other side of this, trying to university to all of the students who came. And what you will realize as soon as you go to your first visit, which will hopefully be UNC Chapel Hill, you'll realize that the admissions people and the tour guides talk a lot. And if you've hung out with me at all, you know I like to talk a lot. It should not be very surprising. And you with information, and you'll feel overwhelmed by it. So first of all, you're not going to remember everything they tell you, but you want to make sure that you go ahead and, not because you're on Snapchat during their talk, but because you're taking notes, or you're going to bring a notebook, whatever works for you to write down some important things. We want you to prepare in advance some things that you want to make sure you get out of the visit. Like, what are 3 things you want to know about Elon? What are 3 things about NC State, or about colleges in general, to figure out if they're a good fit for me? Those 3 things should not find from their website.
This is true.
Okay, like how many undergraduate students attend NC State? You don't need to go on a college visit to find out that piece of information. The last thing I'll say is, don't be too judgy. Okay, so like Elaine said, we'll be in the summer, so most students might be a little boring. It might feel a little dead in terms of the vibe on campus. Sure. And also, like, maybe it'll rain one day when we're on college. It might be 110 degrees in the shade on one of our college visits, and don't make those kinds of superficial factors being reasons that you don't college. So you're going to try to look past the individual circumstances and try to look at the whole school.
Absolutely.
All right.
This is going to be my favorite part, the role plays, you know what I'm saying?
So when we go to our visit, we'll probably, at each school, you'll have probably about 30 minutes where someone who reads applications, who makes admissions decisions, will talk to us as a group. Yeah. And they know a little bit about our group ahead of time. So we'll go there. It'll be like someone at the admissions office first for about 30 minutes before heading out on a walking tour of campus. So first, Elaine and I are going to role play and better questions, or bad questions and awesome questions. And of scenes, Elaine is going to be playing the part of Sly Scholar, and I am going to be playing the part of admissions officer. Yeah. Start with an example of a very typical question that I would get as an admissions officer. You can see how to make it the scene at the college with the admissions officer. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, I do. I have a quick question. So is your program good?
Yeah, our pre-med program is really great. We have a lot of students who are interested in pre-med. Does anyone else have any questions?
And scene. Okay, pause. So my question was a bit basic. So we're going to do it one more time and just give you a good question. You know, what it could look like if I was to add and kind of talk about the difference. Okay, so, and we're back. All right. So I am interested in studying something in the health field so think about going pre-med. Are there opportunities for internships and research that undergrads can participate in?
Yeah, that's a really so we have a lot of opportunities at our medical center and our medical school for our undergraduate students to shadow doctors and to look at something called our health internships program. We have a special health professions advisor who works with students who are considering careers. And finally, we have another great example would be we have an alternative spring break program where a lot of our students go with doctors to go to a community clinic in Mexico. So they're always looking for bilingual speakers to go and practice community medicine. So we have a lot of really unique opportunities to take advantage of if you were to come here as a student.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, good question.
And see, remember, I was thinking about going to business or education, and I just wanted to know if the program was a good program. So I think the first question was like, is it a good program? Is a question, but really what would have been helpful if I had in my mind thought about what makes a good program, and one of that was in the about internship opportunities for research and like trying to get to the need of what their school could offer in that field. And then I could take that information and actually compare it to other schools that I'm visiting and be able to see like, which school has more opportunities for me in that field, if that's what I'm considering. So that's an example of two different, a little basic and one that can be taken to the next level. And so the next question, we're going to start over, reset, okay. So I think I just want to dive into this one. Okay.
Yeah, because you're trying to ask the admissions officer if you can get in. So now we'll get a sense of what that kind of question looks like.
Absolutely.
Questions about the application process?
Yes. So is it hard to get in? My test scores aren't that great.
So if brochure in the front office, you'll see that our admission rate is about 67%. Our middle test score range is a 29. But we read all the applications and look at a variety of factors. So I encourage you to apply.
And see. All right. See, just gave me a lot of facts that I can also find on the interwebs. So the internet, their website. So, take two, try, here we go. Okay. So other than my grades and my ACT score, how can I increase my chances of being admitted? Do you consider demonstrated interest other programs for prospective students that I can participate in, like open houses, multicultural weekends?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Of course, admissions officers transcript and look at the classes and grades and your test scores that you submit. But our does consider demonstrated interest. In the audience who may not know what is. Demonstrated interest is when you are showing through your attendance at various events or your contacts with the university that you are interested in attending that school. And so you can't get in a school just by being really interested in it, but you can get some plus factors on your application by. So for example, if we go to your school, if we come to visit you at Jordan Matthews High School, you will come in as officer who's there, or if we're at a college fair in your area, we'd love you to stop by the table and fill out a thing. October, we have a prospective student open house for all students who are seniors and considering applying, so we hope you'll come to that. And also a weekend that students can apply to attend are for students from multicultural backgrounds, and students who attend that program are and are given a little bit of an extra bump in the application process. So hopefully that gives you some insight into some strategies you can use to increase your application chances.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Insane. All right, so let's point out two things here. So my first question was like, is some facts, and so that gave me some of the numbers that again I could have already seen or could have already looked up on the internet. But the second question was really trying to figure out how to up my chances of getting to the school. And so the first one just gave me the numbers, and I have to kind of make do with it, what I will. But the second one is like, okay, I can go to these events. I could maybe apply early action or early decision. I could just try to get my foot in the door a little earlier to up my chance. So those are some strategies, a way more helpful answer to walk away with than just some numbers. So
absolutely.
So this one this is a question I was considering colleges, and but there are a few ways to ask it, and so we'll kind of just start off. Here we go. All right, so how many Latinx here?
About 10% of our undergraduate student population identifies as Latinx. Next question.
And there the Latinx community on campus, there could be a few reasons behind that. When I want to be, create or build or join a community on campus, and that was I'm curious about, how many students are there. But I think this is also something you can look up online. So we're going to elevate this question and go and take there we go. All right, so your school has about 10% Latinx students here. That's that's pretty good compared to a lot of North Carolina schools, but that's really low compared to my high school. So how do you support underrepresented students once they come to campus, given that this is a predominantly white institution or a PWI?
I think everyone diversity and really embraces diversity. So even though it's a predominantly white institution, I don't really think there's an issue here because all students of this university first.
End scene. All right, so this is a very common response that you'll get.
This is a terrible admissions officer giving you a really awful response to that question.
But that's the real talk, and that's what usually happens. And I remember just feeling like I wanted to know more. And I wasn't getting a lot of straight. And so I think like if that was a response I got, which is a little bit sugar coated and kind of like really we're dancing in the dance. Say like is that I could get connected to maybe alumni of color or other students, current students of color on campus here. I'd just love to speak with them more about their experiences. And then boom, that's an opportunity where the admissions officer could be like, oh yes, we have a great network of alumni. We'd love to connect you with our students. And then you can get some more real talk by talking to students who've actually experienced on that campus and give you tips and tricks on how to navigate that or if you should consider that school, etc. So that's a way to just get in the door, and we'll kind of revisit about more so, let's say, diversity and inclusion, specifically connected to race, because it can be a little hard to navigate, but
Mm-hmm.
it's important. Sometimes that's important to you when you're making that college, decision, and it was for me. And so we'll give you some strategies on how to ask that.
So those are the kinds of questions you might consider asking an admissions officer. And hopefully, some of you might feel really introverted and shy and might be nervous about asking a question, but everyone will have questions ready to go that they've meant to go ahead and ask at each of our sessions, so that you feel confident about asking. But if you ask a question that's kind of basic, hopefully we'll have really great who can take your basic question and bring it to the next level, give you a next level answer. So after our 30-minute introduction with our admissions officer, we are then going to go ahead and go on a campus tour. You're going to wear comfortable shoes because the campus tour is probably going to be about an hour and it's going to be long. So we're here because Elaine has a past as a tour guide. I was never a tour guide. So Elaine is going to be the tour guide. And I'm going to be Josh's mom, who is on the visit and asks questions that could be pretty basic, and then we'll bring it up a level. So we're heading out on the tour. My awesome backwards is, does anyone have any questions? And I, as the say, yeah, so do students like to party here?
Yeah, I mean, it is a college campus. A lot of people like to have fun. So there are definitely for sure. And seeing any other questions in my lovely tour group?
Yeah, so you didn't learn anything because every single college has parties. You know anything. What you're really thinking is, oh my gosh, this is a really small town and I'm afraid I'm going to be bored. So you are going to ask a better question of your tour guide. Try it again, round two. You're going to say, this is a really small campus, or I noticed that the town nearby is really small. Weekend like on campus, what do you do for fun? Do students leave campus, or do they pretty much stay around? So maybe just tell me a little bit about what like a typical social weekend looks like.
Friday night starts off the weekend, so usually have a great time just kind of catching up with friends. We'll go out. There's like a few restaurants that are really fun to visit and eat at, and some also fun. And then they actually have free movie screenings at our student union, which is really fun. Actually some of them are just coming out, so we have a lot of fun going to those. There's a lot of school spirit here, a lot of pride, and so we go to a lot of basketball games, football games, and a lot of students are there and really active. And we usually take a little study, get my grades together, so I focus on that, and that's kind of what a typical weekend typically looks like. So I know it's a small town, but we have a lot of together because a lot of people are close and looking for things to do. So we actually have a lot of fun on the weekends.
Cool. Sounds great.
And scene. All right. So here, what I think is a thing to point out too is that you're trying to envision yourself on campus. So asking questions that are like, what's a typical weekend like here? You can already start to like picture resources or restaurants. I'm just kidding. Whatever is on your campus. Like, is that something that I could see myself doing on the weekends? Could I be having a good social time here as well? So on campus, just in case you're curious.
So another question, you're just wanting to understand what's going on with your tour guide and what they Now keep in mind that every single tour guide wanted this job, whether it's volunteer or paid, to be a tour guide. Chances are they like their attending more than average, okay? But you can still ask good questions to get a sense of what it is they really like. So a typical here.
Yeah, it's great. My brother went to school here, so it's been really. I'm just campus, and I have really great classes. Great. And scene. All right, so
let's ask a better question, and I think of every tour guide all summer, and we'll write down all the answers. Okay, so your experience here at the university, I'm curious, like, what surprised you and what's even better than you thought? And is there anything that has been disappointing or hasn't met your expectations? So, I guess.
I love the classes. I think it's really great here, and I think everyone should totally come here. it's really like exceeded my expectations. I would say the downsides are definitely the bricks. I've fallen quite a few times on these bricks. And I also have horrible experience with parking. Parking on campus, yeah, those are two big, excuse me, downsides of campus here. But, you know, overall, it's pretty great. I really love it. Cutter answer. I mean, you can tell I've done this before. You know, at the end of the day, like, you don't, you know, again, our job as a tour guide is to really advertise the campus. So you might get some real talk when it comes to the weaknesses of campuses or challenges living there. But at the same time, for the most part, you probably get some, you know, some sugar-coated answers. But it's okay. Some a real talk tour guide, and you might get some actual really helpful insight on the campus.
Yeah, I mean, you could always ask a specific question to, like, if there was a professor that you were having a hard time with, did you find that it was easy to go talk to them during office hours? Or did you have to switch advisors? Or did you like your freshman roommate, or different how different problems got solved on campus. So
our next set, we kind of wrapping up the role play really quick, but just some way in your pocket for those moments where you're at a panel and you're like, I just want to know. And again, I mentioned, you know, when it comes to resources for communities of color, students of color on campus, other marginalized communities, it can be really tricky. And I remember feeling like I didn't want to rock the boat. And I was a bit to put those questions out there. So we want to encourage you. If I could do it again, I would have. And I think that's a totally appropriate space to actually ask those questions and to a few questions that we can hook you up with. The first one being, how is or what is the campus environment like for students of color? And it's all white people or white students. You know, you might get a really interesting question. Again, something maybe like, it's great. Everyone is in love with each other, and it's awesome. Again, trying to connect other alumni of color, other students of color is maybe, again, a possible entry point, or just to get a sense of like what the administration or what the university admissions office, how they would answer that question. And it's a pretty general one, so I feel like they should have something to say.
Another good way to understand the university's vibe is like, and what the culture is on campus, is whether or not there have been any big rallies or big protests related to things that have been in the news. So, for example, were there big rallies in the 2016 election? Were there protests or vigils or anything following the recent rescission of the DACA program? Is there a group on campus that works on issues related to Black Lives Matter? Following Ferguson, for example, what happened on campus and what was that vibe? For visiting schools in North Carolina, asking about issues, you know, it wasn't that long ago that we were debating this policy. And so, you know, did this university or college take a stand for LGBTQ rights? And was it a welcoming environment? Who are historically marginalized on university campuses or underrepresented? And you should not apologize for asking the question. I'm sorry, I was just wondering, do you support students who look like me or sound like me or live like me? You don't have to open your space, and these questions are really about helping you do that.
Absolutely. Another one that I think is interesting to get a sense of the student body on campus, or just what people perceive to, is, are students active in social justice movements? Are they generally politically aware? Automatically, I can come up with like 5 examples of how my campus was very, you know, very active when it came to social justice. And so hopefully the students will also be able to, you know, kind of answer that quickly. Their own experiences on campus. So that would be an interesting one to kind of get a sense of the student body. And the next one, which I think is a good question too.
Yeah, so I think that another thing to look at is not just whether or not the school has good financial aid, but if the experience on the university campus is equally accepted or not they are receiving financial aid. So to basically ask, is there a divide or a significant difference in the experience of students on financial aid and those who financial aid? So for example, is it harder to participate in study abroad programs if I receive financial Is there a way to get grant money to do an unpaid internship? These are the kinds of things that can be provided by a college to help equalize the experience. So it's one thing to get your foot in the door and pay your tuition bill. It's another thing to have full access to all of the opportunities that are on campus. And you want to make sure that that you have equal access to everything that's provided to all economic background.
Absolutely. And our last, question on this list, which I think is an important one, is, do you know if there are population generation college students, and what are the support systems available to them? So as a first generation college student, this is something that's wish I already, been able to, if I decided to go to that school, and already had that knowledge to know where to go when it came to like things like the writing center, stuff like that. So I answer that question. And it also speaks to how the school values first generation college students and other marginalized communities too. Are they actually putting ports, etc., where where their mouth is, or where the picture on the school website is, so it's enough for us to be on your brochures, but are there, resources and supports actually going also to support students through our four whatever years at that? So that's another question. Again, like, don't be scared to ask these questions if they're important to you. It's definitely something that I've where someone asked, that kind of hard-hitting or deeper question or unusual question, whatever, and everyone's just kind of breathed a breath of relief, because that was what they were nervous to ask. So oftentimes you'll find that other people are also wondering. So if you find the confidence to ask it, go for it, because people
and we'll be sitting there supporting you.
Exactly.
So ask the tough
happen. We're gonna be ready.
We're all gonna do it.
So great. All right. So that's like a little bit about questions that you can ask, how to elevate your question, finding your college fit.
Yeah. So I think there is a way, Elaine, for students to ask questions. We do have in this video live, post your questions.
Yes.
But I do want to say a couple of things about figuring out what college is right for you. And seniors, because you're now officially juniors and seniors who are going to be on these college tours. So some of you are closer to the process than others. But the way I see it, there are really three main categories of fit. There's the financial fit, whether or not it's an institution that will be affordable to you and your family. There's academic fit, and then there's social fit. The questions that we asked in our scenarios and on the campus visits talked a lot about the culture on campus, a little bit about academic fit. We actually didn't dive into financial fit that much, and that's really going to be a driving force. So for example, in terms of finances and figuring out whether or not a school is affordable to you, understanding what an average financial aid package looks like. Some of the schools we're going to be going not loans for lower income families. Some of the schools we're going to have a higher than average loan debt. We'll be looking at of need met. So if you look at the cost of an institution, and then you're looking at how much your family can afford to pay, how much of that between those two the aid office able to meet. We'll want to find out either through the website or through talking with the admissions officers and how their scholarship application works, because I'm going to help support you going through the scholarship process from beginning to end. So we want to make sure we know what they are. And then from some of you, understanding what their financial aid policy for undocumented students is. Sometimes for certain schools and undocumented students are seen the same, and at some schools they have different financial aid policies. So we'll make sure that we break down that information. So number one, attend if I'm admitted. The next category for fit being academic fit. So that includes, do I have the grades and the test scores to get in, both for me, or do I have a decent chance of admission based on my performance? You know, it's awesome if you're a junior, you still have time. Senior, stay, but juniors have more opportunity to impact their academic fit. And then understanding whether or not the school has your. Now, I will say, you may see a list of majors and you'll be like, oh, I really wanted to major in criminal justice and I don't see that listed here. Well, what is it about criminal justice that is your long-term goal? Is your long-term goal to go to law school? Is your long-term goal to work on a police force? You know, what are you trying to do with that criminal justice degree? What could you do with the programs that are offered at that college? So while it's important to look on that list of majors and see if the major you're interested in is there, don't cross off a college just because you don't see a program with the name you're expecting it to be called. Another great example is business schools don't have business majors. They have marketing majors or economics majors or accounting majors. And so you have to look at what else the program might be. And lastly, and we've touched on a lot of this today, is social fit. Is it a diverse campus? Are there cultural groups that would provide a community for you? Or would you be kind of the initial folks really creating the community on campus? And does that excite you or intimidate you? Is the student competitive and intense and high strung? Or is it more laid back and collaborative? Or more likely, is it a little bit of both, depending on which, are people friendly? Are they helpful? Are they social? Are they not? Is the campus the right size for you? Too big, too small, city-like, surrounding it? Are there places to get good ethnic food? A lot of people will ask, like, you know, well, is there a good, I can go and get the ingredients, good Mexican food around here? Can I get good pupusas around here? And those are legitimate questions, right? Like, don't be shy about asking those kinds of things.
No, and I'm like over here just assuming there were none.
Right.
I missed out on some stuff. So yeah.
Right. So I think, especially for when I was working who were coming from much bigger cities, you know, if they're coming from a place like New York or Atlanta and they're coming to North Carolina, they're like, they kind of think we're all in the sticks. And a lot of us are in the sticks. They want to know those questions. So I've actually done a lot of the homework for you guys. And this is something that we can send out in some form or fashion. But I made a spreadsheet that shows information for all of the colleges that are on our college visits this summer, and includes the information about how large the school is in terms of the undergraduate population, freshmen through seniors, not students who are in graduate school or in law school or business school. The admission rate, which is students admitted versus the number that apply. The middle 50% on the SAT and ACT score. Clear. Many of the colleges that we visit will not have a minimum score. The UNC system schools will, but the private colleges will not have a minimum score that they consider. And so the range that you see is not minimum to maximum. It is the middle 50% range, which means that 25% admitted had test scores below the number you see. So for UNC Chapel Hill, 25% of the students who were admitted scored below a 12 SAT, and 25% of the students they admitted scored above a 1440. I included the percentage of that. Actually, it's fairly consistent across the board, and I think North Carolina is about 9% Latinx. So for most schools, they're fairly similar to the large. The cost of attendance, which includes tuition, room and board, your meal plan, your books, that's the financial need met. There are 3 schools we'll be visiting that guarantee to meet 100% of your needs. So that the 3 most selective schools on our tours this summer, and that's no accident. That they're highly desirable, partially because of these and than many of the other schools. And that also allows them to offer programs that, so it is the case that many of the most selective schools. And then I included a column about whether or not the school that we're visiting offers need-based aid for undocumented students. Almost all of the students can win, regardless of their citizenship status. But some of these schools did aid based just on need for undocumented students. And those include Meredith College, Queens, Davidson. In fact, Davidson, Queens, and Meredith are all Golden Door partner schools. And so that's a really great opportunity. You are undocumented, whether or not you have DACA, or if you have a family member that is undocumented or documented to learn more about those colleges, we especially encourage you to prioritize attending those colleges that have state. But as of these schools have some scholarship money for students regardless of whether or not they have citizenship. So I don't know if there's any questions, Elaine. We'll see what's going on.
We're back. Yeah, so again, like, hit us up if you have some, you know, if you're and you're like, wait a minute, this is helpful, I bet I have this question. Please let us know. We're literally just a Snapchat away. So
or an email or an email if you're trying to reach me directly.
Yes, this is Snapchat, but you know, I'll get the message to her, so it'll be great. But the college visits that we have coming up this summer are just such great opportunities. I encourage you to sign up. The deadline is next week, so for sure, please talk to your parents. Also, any of the trips that don't, that we're not transportation, very much encourage you to ask your parents to come. It's going to be a great experience for them to also get to learn about the college and also help you maybe make it a decision that's great for you on where. And parents just really love to be a part of that journey and that experience as you're getting ready to leave the nest. I'm ready to cry. So it's again to get a sense of a feel for campus, and the ones that we're again providing transportation to. So sign up for the in the Charlotte area. So that would be Davidson and Queens. I'm doing this from memory, so this is awesome. Okay, and
this
the third one
she's looked at.
I know too much. Greensboro area, so UNC Greensboro and Elon as well. So again, great schools to actually get a chance to get transportation to, and the rest of them are so local that you can, you and your family members, bring those siblings as well, can get a sense of the campus and see if it's a good fit for you. Forget to sign up. Drop the link in the description below. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I can't wait to go on and yeah.
And we can also drop a link to the data that we shared about the different colleges, so you can take a look at that too as you're trying to figure out what college.
All right. Well, thanks everyone, and have a great afternoon. Bye.
Bye.